Evening everybody, my name's Richard Cooper, this is Sky the Barn Owl, and we're here for the World Owl Trust. This evening we're going to talk about owl pellets. Before we do, we'll just let people log on and catch up with us. We've had a fairly busy week checking eggs and making sure we've got fertile eggs and things, and today we got a phone call about a tawny owl that was down in the village. It crashed into somebody's garden. I've been down and we've caught it and had it down to the vets. It's a bit bizarre dropping a box off outside the vets and the vet coming out to take it in, and then them coming out later on to tell me what was wrong with it. And it's got a protozoal growth in the back of its throat. It's called trichomonas. So we've got it on drugs at the moment, and hopefully we can treat it and get it back into the wild. It's quite a difficult one. The wild birds, when they come in, they're often very ill if we can catch them. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. We've given it fluids and we've got it nice and warm and in the dark, which is the best thing to do if you ever find an injured bird. Keep it warm, keep it dark, and just leave it until you can get it to either somebody like us or to the vets. Most vets will take things in. So we'll let you know how that comes on next week. We'd better talk about owl pellets. The reason we've got Sky, our little barn owl, she's a year old, and she's rather good at one particular trick. And owls are fairly famous for this. I hope you've had your tea, because this is where it gets a little bit gross. And in fact we'll be talking about pellets which are owl sick, so it's going to be gross for quite a bit of the evening, but the kids always enjoy that. So we've got a tea for her. We've got a mouse, and if we give her a mouse, then she should swallow this mouse down in one. She likes to check the size of it first. She'll get hold of it and make sure she can. There we go, and it's gone. She'll suck the tail, because they're like strawberry laces for owls. And that's got to work its way all the way down into her stomach, which is actually just down here. So it's got quite a distance to travel. She swallows a food whole because, of course, her eyes and her ears point forwards, so she can't see what's sneaking up behind her. A lot of the daytime birds of prey, they've got eyes on the side of their head, so they can hold their food and they can afford to pull it to bits. But the owls, they can't do that. They much prefer to swallow big pieces of food, or the whole piece of food, and that way they're nice and safe. They can get up off the ground again, or they can start concentrating on what's round about them rather than constantly looking down at their feet and pulling the food to bits. If you want to see that again, kids, give it about 10 minutes tonight after you've gone to bed. Sneak back through into the front room, have a look over the back of the sofa, and you'll see your mum swallowing bars of chocolate whole. If you've been really stressing her out during the day, she'll probably swallow it with the wrapper on. And if she swallows the wrapper off a bar of chocolate, she's going to feel sick. And the owls feel sick every day. So in about 16 hours, Sky will start to feel a bit sick. It doesn't mean that she's poorly, it means that she's nice and healthy, and she'll regurgitate the fur and the bones off that mouse. So she'll spit it out of her mouth, and then she's ready to start eating again tomorrow. And they're really useful, because of course we can't see what owls are catching at night, so we can find where they cough these pellets up, and then we can take them to bits and we can find out exactly what they've been eating. To give you an idea of what we're talking about, it just so happens, while we were out for our exercise last night, we went past a barn and we were able just to nip inside and pick up some pellets. These are from a barn owl, and we know they're from a barn owl for two reasons. Oh, do you not like the camera, do you? It looks a bit strange, doesn't it? We know they're barn owl pellets for two reasons: the size and shape of them and the colour. They're quite dark coloured, and there's a barn owl that likes to roost in that barn quite a lot as well. So what we'll do is we'll pop Sky in her box for now, because I need two hands for this next bit. So in you go, dear. There we go. She can just sit in there. I'll take my glove off and just shut the door on it. So we're going to try and take an owl pellet to bits. So here's one I've prepared earlier. We've had it in the water soaking, and Jacinta's really annoyed now because she's always wanted to say that, because she's got Blue Peter badges. I haven't. So we've been soaking it in the water, and it's just a case of pulling it to bits. Now, if I just move it across the table so it's a bit easier to see. If you want to try this and check to make sure it's an owl pellet, It could be something else. I would recommend you get your little brother or sister to pick it up and smell it, or your dad, rather than picking it up yourself. And if you soak it in water with a little bit of disinfectant in it, then you can actually pull it to bits, and you can find bones inside it. There's an awful lot of hair in this one. Oh, so there's a little bone. Just give it a rinse off in the water. There we go. That's a little leg bone off a mouse. We can pop that on there. There is, now this is where it gets really useful, because in here there is a little jawbone as well. So that's a jawbone. It's a left hand lower jaw of some sort of small mammal. If I point it with the pliers, I wasn't allowed to use the medical tweezers. Apparently I would make those dirty, and then when we're taking spelks and things out, I'd make the spelt cut mucky as well, so I've got to use pliers instead. But you can see its tooth on the front there. That's one of its really long incisors, and it's got a little row of teeth just on the inside there, and they're really useful because we can tell exactly what type of mammal it is by looking at those teeth. I suspect this one, we'd have to actually pull them out and compare the holes, but I suspect that one is a short-tailed vole. They love these short-tailed voles. They're like the Mars bar of the mouse world, barn owls. They're really important for them. They live in long grass, and without that long grass, we don't have very many barn owls. Here we go. This is another bone that everybody will recognise. That is a tiny little shoulder blade. There we go. So it's a triangular bone just on the top of your shoulder, kids. The big flat one, it sticks out a bit if you move your arm into a funny position. So that's a shoulder blade. And what we can do is we can count the jawbones or the skulls. We haven't found any skulls yet. There's bound to be one in here somewhere if we've got a jawbone. Yeah, so these the voles are really, really important. They feed the mice. They're like the Mars bar of the mouse world. They've got loads of energy in, and the owls rely on catching those. Without long grass, the barn owls really struggle. If you want to help barn owls, you can sign up and join the World Owl Trust, and you can also grow long grass. If everybody in the country grew long grass, we'd have 1 million acres of long grass. And there is a vole's skull. So those are the teeth at the front. We've got the eye sockets on the top of the head, and if I turn it round, you can see the molars on there for grinding up its food, just like those big flat teeth you've got at the back of your mouth. They're exactly the same, and they just grind up its food. The strange thing about them is because they're rodents, they've got these orange teeth that grow all the time. They just get longer and longer, so you have to constantly chew on things to wear them down. So that is a tiny little skull. The backs usually drop to bits off them, so the skull's actually a bit longer than that. It's usually about that sort of length, but this bit at the back usually falls to bits. So we'll should we keep going, see what else we can find in here. Hopefully there'll be another jawbone. There we go. So that's the other side. So we've definitely got one vole that's being caught. There we go. Put those side by side. And of course, from a scientific point of view, oh, we've got another one there. So it's caught 2 voles. From a scientific point of view, that tells us what the vole population is like as well. If we've got lots of barn owls and they're catching lots of voles, then the vole population is really healthy. If we haven't got very many, then the barn owls struggle, and they're what we call an indicator species. So they tell us just how healthy the countryside is. The one I'm really looking for, there we go. There's 2 there actually. Those are part of the pelvis, and you can just see the socket on the top. So if you've got grandparents who've had hip replacements, there's a little hole in there, and that is part of the joint that's replaced. That's part of the hip joint, and we should be able to find the ball that goes into that somewhere. I think that's it there. A bit difficult doing this one-handed. There we go. And there is the ball that fits into that. So you can almost put it back together. There we go. Fits together just like that, and even rotates backwards and forwards still. Sorry, am I not? There we go. Don't panic if we haven't answered any questions for you yet. We're going to try and do those at the end rather than sort of jumping in and out and stopping what we're saying. We'll try and do them at the end, and we'll try and get everybody's questions answered for them. So that is our pellet. I don't know if we've got any more jawbones there. These are great. If you can find them, they're absolutely fascinating. There's one rather well-known gentleman in the World Owl Trust who has an owl pellet framed on his wall, and it contains the skull of a snipe. And a snipe's a bird with a really long beak. And how this barn owl managed to swallow this beak, I have no idea. But it's on Tony's wall, and it makes an amazing picture. I suspect I may not get away with mounting owl pellets on the wall in my house. So, lots of other little bones there. There's tiny little backbones and things. One of the things that makes them really useful is that every now and again you can find rings in them. There was one ring from a wren. The wren had been rung 300 miles away, and it was found in a barn owl pellet. And I've got, this is going to date me rather a lot, I've got a pellet mounted on card here from 1988. It was found, in fact, wow, how weird is that? It was found 32 years ago today. It's even got the 16th of April 1998 written on it. I didn't realise that until now. And there on the side is a little metal ring. And that ring was found in the pellet. This was from a tawny owl. It was actually found here at our house. And on the back is the paperwork that came from that. And it was a starling that had been rung at the nest at Cannycroft in Penrith. It had flown 14 miles to our house, or 13 kilometres, sorry. The duration was 426 days, and it was eaten by a tawny owl. It was a starling, and it was a female as well, according to this. So it's fascinating. It even says who rung it there on the back as well. The Eden ringers. So they're really useful, and I have to admit to having a full shoebox of owl pellets. So those are owl pellets. Go out and have a look, and soak them in disinfectant. Don't forget to wash your hands. I must add that one because I'll just get yelled at if I don't put that one in. And yeah, let us know what you've been finding in them. So have we got any questions coming in?
We've got a few hellos. Oh, can I scroll? Hold on. We have got... Oh, it's telling me everybody who's watching, which is quite a lot. Okay, let me go back to the beginning. So we have got Nige, who says evening, Richard. We have Lisa, who says evening also. Good evening. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I don't know if I can pronounce this.
You'll have to have a go now you said it.
Oh. I'm going to spell it.
Okay then.
And I'm going to open it up to everybody else to have a try, because I admit defeat.
You mean me, because there's nobody else around.
Okay. So this person will know, obviously. So Bakary Wuyeh. That's the first name.
Right, I should have written that down.
Bakary, so that's bakery with Wuyeh. Anyway, I'm so sorry. I can't pronounce your name, but good evening right back to you. And then we have Chantal says, Dads also eat chocolate a lot with wrappers on.
Not in this house they don't. I never get a chance.
And then I have a message that says, I'm from Taiwan, which is wonderful. And further, they go on to say that they love owls, so their take on English is very, very good.
Brilliant.
Stuart says, where is Elwood? I think Stuart's obsessed with Elwood.
Oh, yes. Sorry, Stuart.
Lydia Coates says that she loves owls, and I have another message that I can't read from Tony. Tony with an I. And then we have Laura, who says, so cool. And Susie says she's so glad that she's had a tea already, Richard. Thank you so much for that.
Good stuff. I did try and do a warning beforehand. We should maybe hold up at like an 18 sign at the start.
Possibly.
If we're going to be gross.
Possibly. Pamela has a question from Alex and Sophie from London, who watch every week. Thank you so much for that, Alex and Sophie. Their question is, what else do barn owls eat as well as voles?
They rely on voles, and they've evolved to eat voles, which is why they struggle if there aren't very many voles. And the vole population rises and falls, so we get plague years where there are lots and lots, and then we get crash years where there aren't very many. And because they haven't specialised, or because they haven't evolved to catch a lot of other animals, they really struggle. They can catch other things like the snipe and shrews and the odd frog and things like that, but they don't do as well catching those. So they really rely on the voles, the short-tail voles, the bank voles. They catch the odd mouse, wood mice and things like that. But yeah, the short-tail voles are crucial for them.
Thank you. Hello from Rosie and Mike. Hello from Sherry. And that's all in the question department, I'm afraid.
That's a good sign. That means
you must have explained it really well.
Yeah, hopefully.
Does anybody else have any quick questions before we go? Type them quickly.
What we're going to do next week is hopefully fly our eagle owl, our European eagle owl. They're an owl that's quite close to the Trust's heart. We've got them breeding in Britain now. So it'd be quite nice to have a go at flying one. And we did have a question about them during the week from somebody down in Bodmin Moor. So yeah, hopefully we can show you an eagle owl flying. Although the weather's looking like it's maybe going to break a little bit this weekend, so we'll have to see.
Well, here's an interesting question from Steve. It's, which owl makes the biggest pellets?
Which owls make the biggest pellets? Well, I have to admit, the eagle owls that we're talking about cough up some pretty enormous pellets. We lost one for 16 days, and we got her back. She was found sat above a gamekeeper's pheasant release pen, and she'd been eating rather a lot of pheasant. And when we got her home, she coughed up a pellet that was about the size of my fingers rolled up. It was absolutely colossal. And it's not just owls that cough them up. Seagulls, herons, an awful lot of the seabirds and things. Crows, they're busy calling over in their nests at the moment in our rookery. They all cough them up, the rooks. Even sparrows and blackbirds can cough up pellets as well. And it's just undigested food that they can't digest. So you can get some quite big pellets from some fairly big birds.
So Pamela says, how many voles do they need to eat each day?
They can get away with 2. More would be preferable, so they can put on a bit of weight. And if they can eat 2 or 3 voles, 3 or 4 voles, then they put on a little bit of weight, and they may not need to catch as many the next day. But they'll only eat so many. They get to a certain point where they've put on quite a lot of body weight. They still need to be able to fly, but they're not like your pet Labrador that just keeps on eating. They'll stop and then not eat for a day or 2. And we do a very similar thing with some of our captive birds when we're feeding them. And if we notice that they're starting to hide food, then we'll maybe give them a starve day, and just like in the wild, they wouldn't get anything to eat that day, and then we'd start feeding them again the next day, just to use a little bit of body fat and to keep them nice and healthy as well.
Susie says that eagle owls are her favourite.
Cool. Well, hopefully it won't fly off next week.
And Alan is passing on a message. Oh, he's just disappeared. It's just flicked away. Sorry, the person's name I couldn't pronounce is from Gambia.
Cool.
So that's lovely to hear.
Yeah, brilliant.
That we're going far and wide.
And have some awesome owls in Gambia as well.
Stuart's saying that I should give you a manicure, and actually, Stuart, funny you should say that, because I was when zooming in thinking, look at that dirty nail.
Well,
So you read my mind.
it's got owl pellets stuck under it. I can't really do much about that. Owl pellets.
Oh dear.
So,
Alan also says that he upset Debbie and the kids by dissecting a tawny owl pellet on the dining room table.
yes, that's why I'm sitting outside on the patio table. I was going to do it on the kitchen table inside, but was told in no uncertain terms I wasn't allowed to.
It's a beautiful evening.
I did suggest to put newspaper down.
Oh.
It's been soaked in acid before it's been coughed up, so it's fairly clean.
Oh well, that's okay then. And from Dorothy, thank you, Richard. That's really, really interesting.
Cool.
Dorothy Parry.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, Dorothy.
So yeah, if you've not seen this before, the reason we're doing this is obviously the World Owl Trust aren't able to go out and meet people at the moment. We can't fundraise, but as I said at the start, we're still getting injured owls in. We've got young owls due to hatch shortly. Hopefully we can introduce you to those in the next week or two as well. Yeah, we've got owls to feed and all our work to do still. So it would be great if you could go online. The link is posted with this video. We'll also put it on YouTube so you can watch it later, and you can share it with your friends, and hopefully you can support our work and donate. We're up to about 4,000 people watching these videos. So if everybody donated £1, we'd be well on the way to meeting our target. If you all shared it as well, then we'd be going, well, we're already worldwide with people in Gambia and Switzerland and Oregon last week. So yeah, it would be great if you could all share it as well.
I don't know if this is sorry, I don't know if this is Stephen threatening Laura over our page or being very productive for his children. I'm going to go for productive.
Obviously, yes, absolutely.
And Steve's saying he's going to get some owl pellets from work, and then the girls can pick them apart over the weekend. I hope that's going to be outside, Steve. Although it might rain on Saturday.
Well, and the picture of the ranch that I shared this morning of Laura and Steve's, they actually had owl pellets outside the back door. I remember distinctly taking those to bits.
Actually, I'm sure Laura won't mind.
Which is pretty much paradise for an owl watcher.
Yeah.
So there we go. Yeah, I hope you can support us and donate. I'll let you all go. Don't forget to go out and clap for the NHS. And thank you very much for your time. Hopefully you can join us all next week and enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you.